Hey everybody, this is Minion Soldier, and this is the Piracy Show. Now, I left that little Star Wars intro on again. Originally, it was supposed to be something a lot bigger. I was going to have the whole, yellow text scrolling up, the Star Citizen symbol coming at the beginning, and, I wanted to do the music, but then I realized that even though it would kind of play into this new Xeno threat attack idea on the Stanton system, the problem with using copyrighted music is that even if I can sit there and I can go, I'll eat the loss on the video. I'll just demonetize the video, give all the, the money to Disney. God knows they need it. And, I'll just to make a fun video for everyone to share. But the problem is, especially with the Disney stuff, is that you can actually end up in a situation where your video is in fact not even viewable in certain regions. And that's what led to basically just that little blue blurb of text at the beginning rather than, the whole grandiose thing that I wanted to plan. It was originally going to be a little bit bigger, but unfortunate. That's just the realities of the copyright laws that we have. And so that is that. But I'm glad people, got a giggle out of it. Maybe I'll leave it up for a while. But I wanted to kind of touch on something to do with the sale. And, of course, I happen to have a Retaliator, as you can see on screen right now. I kind of looked at the future. I kind of looked at the ships that CIG was bringing in, and I was like, yeah, you know what? This is a ship that could come in handy. And so you might be looking at a situation like this, and you might be looking at that War Bond Retaliator and saying, oh, I got to get one. Got to get it. But don't let the current state of affairs in the game skew your perspective on these things, because I can tell you from very real and practical experience that in most of the time that I've owned this Retaliator, the times that I've flown it have been me hunting around looking for capital ships to shoot at and not finding a one. Because, as I've commented before, you don't see a lot of Reclaimers out there, you don't see a lot of Retaliators, and you don't even see a lot of Hammerheads or Carracks or 890 Jumps or 600 Eyes either. Most people are kind of out there and they're either flipping goods in a Caterpillar, which, I have yet to find one in my Retaliator, or yet to just be in the right place at the right time with one. Or they're off flying other smaller ships, or they're playing with the other meta, kind of meta vehicle, which was the Rock. Remember there was a huge surge. Everyone had to have a Rock because I was out there for 10 minutes and I made $250,000. Yeah, well, I was out there for 20 minutes and I made, a whole million UEC, and all that stuff. And everyone was like, man, got to get one of those to get in on the money. This is very much, this patch is a lucky bounce for people who own the Eclipse, who own the Retaliator, who own the Harbinger. This is very much their time to shine. But I think if you ask a lot of them, they'll say that a lot of the time when they were out in that ship before, there was a lot of time spent just kind of, spinning around in the universe and looking for capital ships and not finding a single one. Now, is this quote-unquote time to shine? Is it going to continue? I would say that if you're thinking that this event's going to stop and then CIG's never going to do another event like this, you're brutally mistaken. Obviously, as the game evolves and as things move forward, you're going to see more events like this showing up from time to time. And as combat missions in the Star Citizen universe, which have been woefully static in their evolution, start to really step things up, you're going to see more missions like this. So whether you're a legitimate pilot or whether you're a pirate, you're going to start to see a lot more usage out of these, medium-sized and bigger ships, certainly the torpedo-armed ships. Really, this kind of goes to the thing that I've been talking about in other videos, where these ships, like these medium-sized ships, from the Mercury Star Runner to the Retaliator to, in hopefully the not-too-distant future, Corsair, and, ships even like the Connie and things like that. These ships are now starting to come into their own. The universe is actually kind of playing into them a lot more than it has in the past. Before, they were cargo haulers and occasional PvP ships. But really they are going to start coming into their own. And so combat missions like this aren't an exception. These are going to become the rule in Star Citizen in the future. Whether, it's an Idris today, it could be a Vandal frigate tomorrow. Well, after the release of Squadron 42 probably, but you know what I mean. Like, this is not something that is going to be an isolated incident. Now, CIG originally tried to take a stab at this about a year ago. You might remember the original Idris mission that we were supposed to get in March of last year, and it was crashing the servers. It wasn't really happening. Was it March, or was it just slightly after March in a like a mini patch that we were going to get it? 2020 was a bit of a write-off for a year, but we were originally supposed to get something similar to this about a year ago, and it didn't pan out. There was obvious issues, and that's probably when CIG kind of looked at things and looked at Delamar and just said, maybe it's time to get rid of that. And that's probably where, that idea originally evolved. But, this is going to be the, the starting ground for these ships, really. And I think you're going to start to see a lot more of these things, kind of coming into their own. Now, of course, if you're taking a Connie up against an Idris, you might have a bit of a difficult time. Something like a Retaliator is probably much better suited to that, though, if the Connie is your dream or whatever, go for it and just lean into it and try it and figure it out. And just, it's unreliable. It's a little bit sketchy. It's a little bit off. But you know what? Just lean into it and have fun. And for the most part, just figure out what you really enjoy in the Star Citizen universe. You might find something surprising. Maybe these bombers are actually your thing and you didn't know it. As troublesome as it can be, I have been enjoying it. And I don't think this is going to make me kind of go like, oh God, I got to evaluate my whole hangar now. Got to get an Eclipse too, and got to get a Gladiator and a Harbinger. No, but I think it's going to be a valuable skill set to have, because knowing that these ships are out there and knowing that this threat is real, that might give a capital ship a moment of pause when they go like, oh God, maybe I don't want to go in there because I know these guys got bombers, and maybe I should wait for reinforcements. And that too can, as if you're worried about these guys attacking you with capital ships, having them wait and kind of stage their forces first and buy you time to either get away or set up an appropriate booby trap for them. So it's definitely, once again, it's a great time to be playing the game and trying it out. Yes, you're going to run into bugs, and yes, you're going to run into disconnections and, all kinds of desync problems, but it's a good time to kind of, hash these things out. This is the first time that we've really truly seen like dedicated combat capital ships in combat. There are a few things that I would say are going to be unrealistic, because is an Idris going to step into a combat situation and then just more or less sit there flat-footed and shooting at players? No, it isn't. It's going to be moving, and it's probably going to be moving at a fair clip, because it doesn't want to make itself an easy target. It wants to make things as difficult as possible for the ships that are attacking it. So it is going to be in motion, and obviously in players' hands, that is going to be the case. Also, if your ship is in motion and torpedoes are coming from the direction that you're heading away from, that gives your gunners more time to shoot down the torpedoes. Once again, something to think about. Get that ship moving, get that SCM, go beyond that SCM speed and just go full tilt. But yeah, we're just at the beginning stages now. I really wish, that CIG would relax the idea of not letting players use the Idris and the Javelin. I realize that it goes beyond the spoilers, and CIG is probably, there's probably buggy interiors. Maybe some of the stuff is incomplete. Maybe it needs a little bit more work to kind of patch it all together and make it work. But I think that the community has proven that we have a very high tolerance bar for bugs and inconsistencies in design. And we're willing to kind of look over those things to really get our hands on these ships and provide CIG with valuable data that they otherwise wouldn't get just playing amongst themselves, because any player could figure out something that no one else saw, and that could flip everything on its head. So I think they really should get into the players' hands. And if CIG is worried about spoilers, these aren't the spoilers you're looking for. Move along.
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.